Before I get into what it takes to make the next mattress purchase, I think it's important to understand how we got where we are now. If you were shopping for a mattress back in the 1970s, you'd be going to Sears or Frederick & Nelson, and at this department store you'd be looking at beds that were basically hard, harder, and hardest. And the measure of quality was the gauge of the wire in the mattress or the number of coils that were in that spring system. What water beds did is they shifted the conversation. And in mattress shopping, it's mostly about conversations. And the conversation before had been hard. It's what's best for your back. And waterbed said, no, it's about conformity. It's about contouring to that body. It's about pressure point relief. And they were winning that conversation. And the response of conventional mattress brands was to make beds that were thicker and softer. And those thicker and softer beds were able to claw back some of the market share that they lost, while waterbeds kind of drove themselves out of business. They were getting a cheaper and cheaper quality product, and it got to the point where it couldn't be profitable for most people selling waterbeds. What that did for a consumer is that life expectancy of that innerspring bed, instead of being 20 plus years, went down to 12 to 15 years. And it wasn't because there was something wrong with that mattress, it was that softer materials were being used in the cushioning, and that softer material, though it could be managed with rotation and flipping, would compress and lead to body impressions more quickly. The other result of that was beds started getting more expensive. You started seeing beds of over $1,000, which in the early 80s was kind of unheard of. And those more expensive beds and that shorter buying cycle made the mattress industry really interesting for conventional mattress brands to be purchased by private equity firms. These private equity firms saw, oh, there are a lot of dollars changing hands here and a shorter buying cycle, we can make some money on this. And by the early 90s, most of those mattress brands that you've heard of, the Sealy's, Stearns & Foster's, Simmons, Serta's, they'd all sold. And Simmons actually changed hands several times. And they were on the verge of bankruptcy, and the company that bought them came up with a marketing plan on a way to avoid bankruptcy. And it was a very compelling strategy. They said, you don't have to flip your mattress anymore. You benefit. You don't want to flip your mattress anyway. And by compelling those people to buy the bed that they thought was gonna last a lot longer because they didn't have to do anything and they didn't have to do the things they didn't want to do, they looked wildly profitable because they'd cut off 25–30% of their manufacturing costs and sold them for the same price. And they laughed all the way to the bank when they sold that company again. And the private equity firms that also owned the other brands followed suit. And by 2003, all those mattress brands were making one-sided beds that you could not flip. The result to the consumer is a bed that only lasts about 5 to 7 years. And that 5 to 7 year bed still had a 10-year warranty, which led us to where we are now is people would go to a store and they'd be told, oh, this is a 10-year warranty, and people assumed that meant that they would keep the bed for 10 years. But warranties are not a measure of durability. They're something to make you feel warm and fuzzy, and they're not going to indicate how long you'll keep the bed. So rather than going to a store and being sold a bill of goods about a bed lasting 10 years that's not really going to last 10 years, private equity firms also saw the opportunity to present beds in an alternative way, which is, oh, you can buy it online, and if you don't like it, we'll just take it back. And these roll pack UPS-able beds have captured a lot of market share because people are so sick of being lied to in mattress stores. The Cliff's Notes version of the class, though, is that if you knew nothing about beds, you'd buy them by the pound. And if you have to be able to compress, fold, and roll a bed and have it UPS to someone's house in the UPS size and weight restrictions, it's very difficult to make anything particularly durable. It's a long-winded way of saying that's where we are as a mattress industry. And it doesn't mean you can't still find value. It just means you need to be a lot more careful because a lot of people are not interested in your long-term comfort. They're interested in getting your short-term dollars. And I'm here interested in your long-term comfort.